Welcome to May and also welcome to CSL Leesburg. We are so happy that you joined us here today. The theme for the year of 2023, I'm getting more used to saying 2023 now, is living out loud. And the focus for the month of May is the light within the shadows. Today's message is the inner and outer spectrum, and it will be given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. Like I said before, we're so glad that you joined us. We invite you to sit back and relax. If you have any cares or celebrations that you would like us to include later in our service, when we do our affirmative prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment, please be sure to list those prayers, those concerns, those celebrations in the chat box, and we'll make sure that we include them. So we're going to kick off our service officially with this video. We invite you just to sit back, relax, and we are so glad that you are here. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly. And so it is. And so it is. All right, folks, I have the meditation for today. And I always look at the title and see what can I come up with that I think would be an appropriate meditation that ties in with the title. And I read the theme for the month of May, the light within the shadows. And that's what I started thinking about, how we need the light, but we also need the shadows, right? Without darkness, how can we even appreciate the light? So I started thinking about positive and negative self-talk. So my meditation today is going to focus on positive self-talk, keeping yourself in the light. So I invite you, as we always do to begin our meditation, to sit back in your chair, get comfortable, relax those shoulders, relax the rest of your body. Maybe give your neck a nice gentle stretch, nice and gentle. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's just do that a few more times on your own, just getting into that nice, sacred, quiet place where you set aside your to-do list for the day And you just go into that quiet stillness within that we call a meditative state. In this busy, busy world that we live in, we're constantly on the go, doing things, thinking about the next thing that we have to do. And it always feels so good. It's like a mental recess, a timeout when you go into meditation and you just still your mind. So just appreciate the state of stillness, of relaxation, of peace, of quiet. The body is relaxed. If you have thoughts that pop into your mind that intrude on this, just, oh, hello, there you are. And goodbye. You're not welcome here right at this moment. Just send them gently on their way. Now, I told you the theme of our meditation today is positive self-talk. So I'm going to ask you to dig back into your childhood memories. And I want you to remember a time when you were learning something. You were learning how to dive into the water. You were learning how to do a cartwheel. You were learning how to ride your bike. You were learning how to shoot a basketball and get it to go into the hoop. Think of a time in your life when you were learning something and it was new and it was challenging. You had to really focus all your energy, all your determination into mastering this task. And as you think back that memory, think about how it felt in those early days when you were really struggling. When you were thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm trying so hard. I can't get this. But there was a part of you that was saying, keep going. You got this. Keep going. Or maybe, oh, I hope this is true. Did you have a trusted adult? Did you have somebody with you saying, it's okay. Try again. You got this. You can do it. Keep pedaling. Keep trying. Maybe they're telling you to adjust something. You weren't quite getting the way you had to turn your wrist when you let go of the ball. You weren't quite sure about how to keep the pedals moving. You weren't quite sure how to brake. But you got this. Maybe they were hanging on to the back of the bike to help you. They were saying positive, encouraging things. Keep your head down. Keep your hands together. Jump off the edge. And if you didn't have that positive person with you guiding you, imagine in this moment, what would you have wanted to hear? You would have wanted to hear, you got this. It's okay. You're just learning. Try again. Well, that was close. You almost got it. Think about those words guiding you, encouraging you, supporting you, inspiring you, motivating you, keeping you going. Because you were just learning. And you knew, and everyone knew, you're not going to jump off the edge of the pool the first time you try to dive and get it perfectly, right? You're not going to hop on a bicycle the first time, no training wheels, and just ride off. You're not going to dribble that ball, shoot it, and the first time you try it goes in the hoop. No. You're going to have some struggles. You're going to have some grit. You're going to have some determination. And this is perseverance. You're learning that important skill to keep going, keep trying, even though there are times that you wanted to give up. There are times that you wanted to switch on that negative tape. I'll never get this. I'm just no good. But you kept going. And eventually you could do that cartwheel and you could do that dive and you could ride your bike like a champ. You could throw a ball and it went in the hoop almost every single time. Now, in that frame of mind, with those thoughts, think of a current struggle, a current challenge. Think of something that's making you pull up those skills that you learned when you were a child: determination and perseverance and self-love and support. You got this. It's okay, you're learning. Nobody gets it right the first time. Keep trying. You got this. And think about how you can bring those words. You don't have to have that adult. You don't have to have those training wheels. You don't have to have that coach. You can be that person for yourself. That's called positive self-talk. So as we come back from our meditation, just give yourself a hug. Remind yourself, any trials, any challenges, you got this. You got this. You'll get there. You're learning. You're going to make mistakes, but it's okay. You're going to learn what not to do. You're going to become wiser, more experienced as you go along. Life is a journey. All right, wiggle your toes. Shrug your shoulders. Come on back and join us as we move into music with Leah.
Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark as you do the light. Receive the gifts that come to us by day and by night. I choose to honor the dark, uncertainty and change. Deliver us from fear until only love remains. Honor the dark.
What? That was amazing. Let me stop sharing. Oh my goodness. That was amazing. Let me go back into speaker view. Wow. Our wonderful Leah, she just outdid herself. And I love the way each of the talk, both the meditation that reminded us about when we talk to ourselves inside, that's the inner spectrum. And when we look out, that's the outer. And because a lot of our lives is spent, being I want to say conditioned. I'm trying to pick another word, but I don't have it. We're acclimated to this world. It's really important that we show up a certain way and that we look a certain way and that we act and we interact a certain way. But what is not talked about a lot is the inner self, what are we saying within ourselves? That's completely private, at least for a while, until AI takes over and can read all our thoughts. I'm terrified. I read some article about, oh, AI can look at a brain scan and just speak for you. It'll just know what you're thinking. And I'm like, oh, this is not. Because the inner spectrum, the talk today is the inner and outer spectrum. There is an inner world that we and only I can see mine, and you and only you can see yours. Yet we all look upon each other, and we make sure that our outer beingness reflects what is expected. And that's awesome. That's great. Nothing wrong with any of that stuff. You're supposed to get along well with others, right? On your report card, there's a section, plays well with others. Yes or no? And so we're thinking about this when it comes to spirituality. And we know we think about light, we think about darkness. And if you came from Christianity, you were told that darkness is bad and light is good, and that you were supposed to flee from the darkness, right? And you were supposed to be not afraid, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, right? You're like, oh no, that sounds terrifying. Good thing the rest of that psalm is good news, you know? And the idea is that we have darkness, which is supposedly bad, and light, which is supposedly good. But what if you need both? What if we, the Western world, were not hell-bent on trying to get rid of everything dark and only think the positive thoughts? What if you only wanted to do Tamara's meditation and you never wanted to confront anything negative? I mean, she's probably got something in her back pocket that deals just as well with darkness. It's just that positive self-talk is what we grew up on it. We know we deserve that, but there's something else, and it's just as necessary. And so this talk today is all about being okay with parts of us that bloom at night, like flowers. Some flowers bloom at night only. These flowers can be likened to the inner spectrum, those things that happen only in the shadows. Scientists are now discovering that in the deep depths of the ocean, there's a whole world of beings. There are all kinds of things that, of course, in our minds, we would think, yes, that looks like an alien, or whoop, that looks like a monster. Just blow it up 15 times and I'm running from it. Of course, because we're not familiar with that stuff. It grew in the darkness, the spots we're not capable lung-wise to visit, and we're not ready spiritually to entertain. But what if there's a whole world of wealth right beneath the surface? Maybe not just under the surface, but what if we sat long enough still in meditation, in prayer, in breathing, in chanting, whatever it is that we know anchors us back to our full self? What if we could sit there and then dive into the depths of our own being? What would we find? The Upanishads say that's where you find oneness. That's where Brahman exists. And Brahman, as I don't know if you remember Bridget's talk a couple of weeks ago, Brahman is the allness, the all-pervasive consciousness from whence all things come. Everything is made from this source, and we are that source right here, right now. Anytime we get worried or concerned that we're not enough, we don't have enough, we're not going to be enough, and it's just not sufficient, with a heavy sigh and a head in the hands, we can remember that we are made of that divine allness. That is what we are. It's impossible for us not to have enough or be enough. And a lot of the time, it's because we Westerners have spent so much time just popping along the surface of the ocean and never diving deeply within our center, never sitting still. Like Tamara talked us through this morning, and just quieting those thoughts and wondering what's going on even below and even further and even further. And yes, there's a downward, but a good spiral within. And then if we spend enough time there, the teaching is to spend 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, diving deep. What kind of richness can we uncover that is right here within us. And of course, the movements will be slight, but what we're looking for is just a balance between that light and that dark, a balance between that internal and that external. I was looking this up. I found this image, if I could get it to show properly. 1 second. I'll open it with a good tool and then I'll share that. Yeah, here we go. You guys have seen this tool before, or sorry, you've seen this picture before. It is, wait for it, it's coming. You've seen this picture before. It's the yin yang symbol. And it is Eastern, it is from the Taoist tradition. And what that shows is a balance between the light and the dark. And it's equally light and dark, and even the darkness has a little light, and even the light has a little dark. In fact, I was doing some research, and the yin, so the darkness represents yin, the passive feminine principle. And the lightness represents yang, the active masculine principle. And in this balance, all things are held. The Tao says that the whole universe is held in that delicate balance of yin and yang. And even the yin has some yang, even the yang has some yin, and it's fluid. What was recently a positive thing, if you're going to look at it polarity in polar terms, positive and negative, what was recently positive can immediately turn negative because they each have that aspect of each other in it. And so we don't look at it as, oh, it's the wars between the masculine and the feminine. It's the females versus the males. No, it is a balance of both energies that hold the universe in its space. And I don't know if you remember a story, lots of ministers tell this story, where there's a farmer who has lost his horse. The horse ran away. And the neighbor says, oh, bad news. And the farmer says, could be good, could be bad. Well, who knows? Who is one to tell? You could tell this is an Eastern tradition, that the farmer is in China and he practices the Tao. A few days later, the horse comes running home, and guess what the horse brings with it? Lots of wild horses. So now the farmer has all these new horses that he gets to handle. And so the neighbor comes running over, oh, this is good, this is good. And the farmer says, could be good, could be bad. Who is to tell? A few days later, the farmer's son was trying to break in one of the horses, and looks like the horse broke him. The horse flew the child off of the horse. Teen broke his leg. Neighbor comes running over. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. And the farmer says, could be good, could be bad. Who is to tell? Days later, the son sitting out with his foot and his leg in a cast, eating some soup, I imagine, sitting out there when the Chinese army marches by. They're looking for every able-bodied young man to come join them in. Okay, whoops, you can't join us. Broke your leg. So the army keeps marching on, and the neighbor comes over. Oh my God, you're so lucky. It's so good that your son broke his leg. And the farmer again says, could be good. You can't break this guy. He's never going to fall for it. He's never going to not see it could go either way. Who am I to know what is the long range vision for any of this stuff? And so I'm not going to sit in judgment and celebrate the good things and lament the bad things when I know that any second now it could swap. And that is a really good illustration of this yin yang symbol. It's spinning, it's going in circles, and it's very fluid. But what it's not going to do is value one over the other. It's never going to say, I'm going to need more bad right now, so let's get rid of the good. Or I'm going to need more light, so let's get rid of the dark. We need both. Now, that's not to say that it's 50-50. It's not to say that you're going to have half of your day will be 12 hours of good stuff and then 12 hours of bad stuff. It doesn't have to be a linear balance that way. But just knowing that the qualities inside of this beautiful orb of balance is going to have just enough tension, just enough stress, just enough things aren't going my way to get us out of our comfort zone, to get us out into the world, to break down that hubris that may build up when everything seems to be perfect. You've met people that haven't had much hardship. They're not that fun to be around. I find them a little bit boring. I hate to say it out loud, but there I said it. I'm going to need some people to have gone through a couple things so that they don't sit in their little high judgment chair and tell me while they eat popcorn how I should probably do it better. And, oh, you missed a spot. No, you want to smack down, do that to me. Sit on your high chair and judge me. Woo, you get me going. And even I have to stop in that moment and say, all right, God bless them. They haven't had anything happen to them yet. Good luck with that. Stay on the planet long enough. And so we have enough of the yucky things to bring us back down to earth, to add a little bit of compassion in our little bowl of oatmeal, so that when we look upon each other, we can become more empathetic. We can look with softer eyes at the experience of our brother and sister. And even though we have not gone through that specific tragedy that they're going through right now, we can go and sit next to them like Piglet did next to Eeyore. Piglet said, are you having a bad day? And Eeyore was just like, yeah, this is not a good day. And Piglet just sat right down, his little ears poking up and looking. Eeyore said, well, what are you doing sitting next to me? And Piglet said, I'm just going to sit with you. You talk about compassion. Eeyore was having a bad day. And Piglet just said, I'm not even going to A, try to fix it, B, try to cheer him up, C, tell him to get over it, or think positive thoughts. Piglet just sat right down and said, I'm going to sit with you. That is what we look for when we come into a spiritual community. We want to be in community with one another, not only for the good times when everything goes great. That's great. Yes, let's celebrate. But also when things are not so great. And we don't have to stay hidden at home until things are better so that we could show up again in our spiritual center. My goodness. I was hearing this weekend, or the last week I was at the retreat for spiritual. Everybody who went to the retreat were either trying to become a minister or they were the dean of the ministerial schools all over the country. So we had a bunch of students, and we had one seminar that was toxic positive thinking. And we were talking about church, how a lot of times in New Thought churches, we try to get each other to only speak of the good, because the good is all there is. And I'm using my little Frosty voice because it's the one that just, it's okay. And it's a little bit of spiritual bypass, because when things go wrong or when someone gets sick, some of our centers sometimes say things like, oh, what was in your consciousness? You got sick. What was in your consciousness? You got hit by that car. What was in your, what? So that's a little bit of, I'm being kind, but that's just wrong. We don't use it that way. We don't say, just because we do know that our consciousness does create our experience, that doesn't mean that when terrible things happen, that something we did created it or attracted it, or somehow we are to blame for this terrible experience. Because that kind of thinking will keep people isolated from one another when they're in one of these spiritual communities. And if you were to point this out, I'm sure that every spiritual director who inadvertently made that seem to be the case, they would be horrified that one of the people that goes to their community isn't coming to church now because they're sick and they don't want to have to defend why they got sick. So they're going to get better and then come back. No, it's like not going to the gym until I have some muscles so that I can show my muscles at the gym. Fool, that's how you get the muscle. Don't stay home. Don't not join the gym because you think you need to be fit. That's how you get fit. And don't not come to our center because you think you need to be whole or know your wholeness or be successful or whatever it is you really want. because this is how you get there. We are a community that loves each other right where we are and will not say stuff like, oh, now, cancel. Don't say anything negative because I can't listen to negative talk. No, you could say it. You could say it and we'll sit right there, right next to you and sit with you. And practitioners will pray, will know for you until you can know for yourself the truth about yourself. So that's one thing I learned over the weekend, that there are some churches that are doing this change your thinking, change your life a little too dogmatically. Like, yes, you can have a dogmatic spiritual center. I mean, it's strange, but you could have it. The other thing I learned too was that about myself. So I've been on this journey to try and not be so heady and try to do a little more from the heart, thanks to feedback. And I know that it's good to have a balance of head and heart. And I know that the reason I came to this teaching is because I can use my logic. I don't have to suspend my knowledge of science in order to attend my church. I don't have to pretend that God created the earth in 7 exact days, or that the humanity has only been around about 5,000 or 6,000 years. I don't have to believe that. I can actually believe in real science and still come to church. I could still have a God that has the Big Bang Theory, God as the Big Bang, as opposed to God or the Big Bang. Pick one. I get to choose that. And I love that it allows me to be logical and scientific. And there's a piece of it that is not really pronounced at first, but there's a piece that is completely heart-based and spiritual. And I know we don't talk about it a lot because it's called science of mind. So you think, oh, great, I can come here and just think my way to spirituality. And that's not true. It's really called science of mind and spirit. So the spirit part, that's the part that I'm talking about, when we can go within and understand that we are connected, and not only understand it, because that implies here. I understand I'm connected to the divine. How about here? Oof, I know that I am connected with the divine. I feel connected with each other. I feel like I'm one with everyone around me. And that is only a practice. I cannot read it and then feel it or know it. I have to read about it and then practice. So we put the practice back into practitioner and we do the work. So there I was. I'm on this retreat and everything's fine. And I got paired up with someone who's amazing, who's writing a book about, we had so much in common and we were giggling and we're so excited and thrilled. And I even said to her, I said, Sarah, I'm so excited that this is day 3 and we haven't been told to gaze into someone's eyes for minutes at a time, because it really bugs me about these retreats when they make you pair up with a stranger and you just look in their eyes. And she was laughing. She goes, ha ha ha, we're cracking up. We go to lunch. After lunch, guess what the exercise was? Gosh darn it, if they didn't say, we're going to do a circle exercise and everybody's going to get in a big circle outside and then we're going to pair up and we're each going to gaze into each other's eyes. I was like, oh, geez. And then they go on for 3 in-breaths. You're gazing in each other's eyes. And then you put your hand on your heart and you put your hand on their heart and they put their hand over your hand and then you breathe and you look and I'm like, oh, no, say it isn't so. And then after that, you hug and you breathe for 3. And I'm like, oh, geez. Now I'm planning an exit, right? I'm like, all right, I could get out the back door. I could sneak out the back. I could pretend to have to go to the bathroom. And then I started thinking, but Shar, you said you wanted to experience deeper. You said you wanted to go deeper and get out of your head. And so I still kind of kicked a few things around and kind of arranged my purse. Everybody's outside. They're all in a circle and they're ready to get started. And in the room, the deans are there and I'm still there. And I said, deans, how long is this exercise? And they said, about 10 minutes. And so then I look at my watch and I start to do the math. All right, 3 in-breaths and out-breaths plus 3 in-breaths plus 3, that's 9 times divided by carry the 1. I'm still in my head, y'all, trying to do the math of how many people am I going to have to do this with? And then I still made myself get outside. And there they are. They're in a circle. And I sneak over like Red Robin and I kind of join hands. And I'm looking around like, did I stand next to nice people? Okay, they're all nice. And then we start the hugging thing. The hug, the first, I can't even remember the first one. The second one, I kind of remember. The third one, I remember him, poor him. I was still in my head though. And I was doing that thing. I looked at them right here. If you look at a person on the bridge of their nose, they think you're looking them in their eyes. So I was like, I'm cheating the system. I got through it. You know what I'm saying? And then I saw Casey. Casey is this beautiful, beautiful soul. And I was like, I'll go breathe with her. So we did the breathing, we did the thing, and then we hugged. You guys, my heart was like the Grinch. You know how the Grinch's heart just broke out of its cage? It just freaking exploded. And I was like, and I'm crying and she's crying and I wouldn't let her go and she wouldn't let me go. It was amazing. Talk about being on the edge. I was just right there like, oh, what's next? So I still get goosebumps talking about it. And then we grabbed my other friend, Melinda, and you know, Melinda, we're all just snotting and hugging and everything. It was awesome. Luckily, that was the last one. I don't know what I would have done if I had to keep going. So I'm here to say, I am one of your card-carrying members of trying to think my way to enlightenment. I think I can it's a formula or it's a software program. And if I just write it and debug it, I can get there. But no, turns out, newsflash, we need each other. We love each other. And we need a community that lets us burst open with our hearts, that allows it, that has that thing that we're all looking for. If you've listened to the news, they've done studies. Loneliness is now equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Being lonely makes you just as sick as if you were smoking. I don't know, is 15 a pack of cigarettes? I think it's just under a pack, right? Dude, being lonely, being isolated, allowing our thoughts, the negative thoughts, the fear, the worry, and the lack of being able to be vulnerable with someone, anyone, that stuff adds up. We need each other and we need each other more than ever. And so I'm just here to say that, yes, the darkness is okay because it's balanced out. It's there for a reason. The rest of this month, we continue to talk about what's in the shadow. What is it to step into the light? And how can we modify our thinking in such a way that we embrace those things that used to scare us? Because in the end, what is within us is the divine. It is the divine as us, moving through us. And it never hasn't been so. I suppose I should leave you with a quote. Little by little, this is from Rumi, little by little, you will turn into the whole sweet, amorous universe. Love will surely burst you wide open into an unfettered, booming new galaxy. And I feel like that's what happened to me. And I hope that for you too. And so together, I would love to just go into prayer and just know that right where we are is the presence of the divine, that there is no spot where God does not occupy. That means God is right where we are. The universal presence, Brahman, the power, the all is right here, right now. It cannot be any different. It is its creation. It is part of, it is living and breathing as its own creation and is also pregnant with infinite possibility. Anything that we desire can be ours if we have our inner and our outer matching. If we are just as confident inside as we appear to be outside. When we are in balance with the outer and the inner, all is well. And so I speak my word for balance right here and right now. For everyone in the sound of my voice, knowing that our community is rich is growing and is in balance, that we are a safe place to land. It is okay to bring ourselves, no matter how we feel about ourselves, that we are held by each other in the light of God, in the joy of God, and to take any one of the attributes of the divine, peace, abundance, love, joy, and just know that this attribute is ours to claim. We have access to everything good and everything available. It is all ours right here and right now. All we must do is simply claim it with a conviction that it is deserved, that we are deserving of it. And so this spiritual mind treatment is simply an attempt. It's an effort. It's a knowing on my part that we can move into the mindset that all is well and we are held closely. That what may appear to be negative in the moment may also change in a moment. For all is fluid and all is flowing and everything is working together for the highest and best. So I simply give thanks for this awareness, knowing that is unfolding perfectly according to divine law. I let go, I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. And now let's hear from Leah.
Hey, you guys, Leah here. So I must be among millions, if not billions of people who tuned in to the inauguration yesterday on January 20th, 2021. And I was inspired by every moment of it, but especially wrapped and lifted, exalted, just completely fixated and moved by Amanda Gorman's poem, her presence, her beauty, her artistry. And so this song was born. There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. There is always your light in the dark. We are ready to see it. There is always your light in the dark. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always your light. There is always we are ready to see it. There is always your light. There is always we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always light. There is always dark. There is always light. There is always dark. To see the light, to be the light, to shine in the dark of night and be a climb this hill. Together we will. There is always shine. There is always shine. There is always shine. There is always shine. Be the light.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Leah always blows me away with her songs. I mean, that's just incredible. And it tied in with the title of our talk so well. And thank you so much, Charlene. Your authenticity shines brightly when you speak. All right, folks, now is the time to bless the donations that are shared with us today at CSL Leesburg. You heard in the opening video that we believe in the law of circulation. We are a tithing community as a result. So the donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. Your donations help our center, our home organization, as well as organizations that support our vision for helping to create a world that works for everyone. We're always looking for suggestions for organizations that we should consider. So you are welcome to go to our website and look for the word give. Please look at our screen. There are so many ways that you can make your donation. It's easy to find a way that works for you. I know we all have found that way. No matter how you are giving, just place it over your heart. And before we do that, let me just show you. We talked about, I think 2 weeks ago, you heard me say that we tithe. We give to organizations that support and further our vision of helping to create a world that works for everyone. And you can see some of the folks that have received a portion of what you give to us. So we have Best Friends helping our little animal community, and we have Native Hope. And this is an organization that supports our Native American population, our indigenous population. And then there is, I'm trying to read what
water.org.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this is just making sure that everyone has the clean water that is so essential to life. So these are just some of the organizations that we have given in the past. And we wanted you to see, this is not just something that we say when we have service. We treat and move our feet. We practice what we preach, and we wanted you to see that. All right, now's the time to bless the gifts, our affirmation of oneness. So take your gift, however you're giving, maybe it's physically, you're placing it over your heart, or if you give like I do, it's just automatic each month. It goes to CSL Leesburg. Just kind of hold that space over your heart and join me as we read what's on the screen. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I'm a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. All right, now it's time for announcements. And I just want to say thank you, Charlene, because I'm just digging the background. You changed things up a little bit, and I love it. All right, stay tuned. We have some more classes. We're talking to folks. We're kind of trying to coordinate people's schedules. We want to make this something that you want to do and also something that is easy for you to do. So we push things back just a little bit to June. We're going to have our historical foundations class. There is a prerequisite. You have to have one of our foundations classes first. It's going to be for 10 weeks. It's going to start June 5th, and it's going to be on Tuesday nights.
No, it's Monday. I'm sorry. I keep changing that. I'm so bad. I should have changed it. It's Monday. Yeah.
But Charlene, I see what you do. You pushed it back to June so that I don't have a bedtime excuse anymore. Guys, I'm a teacher. I go to bed at 9:00 each night. So she moved it back to June just so that I can stay there. Thank you. I appreciate it. From 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that will be over in June. It'll be over Zoom. That's what I wanted to say. So if you're interested in joining, this is such an amazing class, very insightful, because all the stuff that you hear in our service, we didn't make this up. Ernest Holmes didn't make this up. You look at the historical foundations. Who are the other folks, the pioneers, and all the different people that contributed to this. And it's very, very insightful. You learn the historical background of science of mind. And then this class is always a joy. Change your thinking, change your life. There's no prerequisite. If you have not taken this class, I highly, highly encourage you to take it. I've taken it, I've taught it, and it is just, the title kind of speaks for itself, guys. It really can change your life when you just make that little mind shift. We hear so much about mindfulness these days and just shifting your mind to take a different look at things. This will be in June, and there's more information coming soon. Okay. Now,
we're taking a break.
We're taking a break for dream study, but that makes sense, summertime with all these classes and everything that people have going on. So that will be back in the fall. And that's got to be the end of our announcements. That's a lot. All right. Once again, we thank you so much for joining us. If you can, stay, hang out with us. We call this Pearls. We talk about the service. What really resonated with you? What do you want to question? What do you want to talk about? What would you like to explore further? What inspired you? We hang out, we talk with each other. It's our little coffee hour via Zoom. If you have to leave us, then know that we send you off with our love and with our blessings. So we'll do our closing affirmation. Guys, you know, I want to hear you. You heard what Charlene said about the loneliness thing. So I want to hear your voices. I'm just sitting in this room with my dog Silas, and he doesn't talk officially to me. So I want to hear you turn on your mics. Here we go. You ready? Repeat after me. I am love.
Hi.
And love.
Oh, that feels so good. Now point at somebody who's in the room with you, or point at the screen. Or I want you even to, if you know somebody who needs to receive this message, we know we're all connected spiritually. So repeat after me with you are love.
You are.
You are love.
And now put your hands up in the air and join me by repeating after me and saying, it's all love.
It's all love.
Love. Wonderful. Thank you again for joining us. If you can stay and hang out with us. We'd love to chat with you. And if you have to go, we wish you a wonderful, wonderful day.